Hey everybody. So today our objective is we will be able to understand the differences between the units milliliters right here and liters. So let's find out. You guys learned about it yesterday in Brain Pop. So we introduced that vocabulary and that content to you guys yesterday. So now we're just going to talk a little bit more about it so you guys get really comfortable with the differences between the two. So liters and milliliters. Liquid volume, right here, is the first one we're going to talk about. And this is how much liquid a container can hold. So if I had a cup, which is considered like a container, and I put water in it, the liquid volume is the volume, how much liquid is inside this container. That's the volume, okay? We measure liquid volume in milliliters and we measure them in liters. It just depends on how much liquid we're trying to measure to choose which unit we should use to measure it with. Okay, so we have the first term here we have is volume. Volume means the amount of space something takes up. So again, if I had a cup and I filled it up with water, okay, if I filled it up, the volume is that amount of space that the water is taking inside that cup. That is the volume, okay? And that's what we measure. The measurement is the volume. Or we measure how much volume a container is holding. The next one is milliliter. So you guys remember this one from yesterday? A milliliter is a way that we measure if we're measuring smaller units, okay? Smaller units of volume. So if we had just like a teacup, let's say this is a teacup, that we would want to measure that in milliliters because a teacup is not very big, right? So that liquid, there wouldn't be too much liquid inside. Okay, so we would want to measure it in milliliters. Or maybe teaspoons. We use teaspoons. These are my teaspoons. You guys like them? If we were to measure some liquid on a teaspoon, then we would want to measure it in milliliters. Okay, so when we look at the abbreviation, so we don't have to write out milliliters. That's a long word to write out. We can abbreviate it with ML. So lowercase m and a capital L. And that shows the reader that means milliliters. 1 milliliter, this is really important, is only equal to about 6 drops of water. Okay, it's really not that much. So 1 milliliter is equal to about 6 drops, 5, 6 of water. Not too much. Now let's go on to liter. A liter is this measures larger units of volume. Okay, so if I had a pool, I'm going to draw my pool here, and I was to measure all of the water inside this pool, we would want to measure it in liters. Okay, and we abbreviate that with a capital L. 1 liter, just 1 liter, is equal to 1,000 milliliters. So if we had 1,000 drops of water, that would be equal to 1 liter. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. So now I want you guys to put on your imagination caps now, okay? And I want you to visualize here. Look at this. If 1 milliliter, guys, 1 milliliter is only a few drops of water. Just a few, okay? That's 1 milliliter right here. That's it. That's not very much. And that's why we measure smaller volumes of water using milliliters, because we're only measuring small amounts of water. A large, right here, a large bottle of water, so not a normal bottle of water that maybe you get at Costco, right? A large bottle of water is equal to 1 liter. So if I had two smaller bottles of water, here's my bottles of water. I know I'm not a very good drawer. Sorry, guys. If I had two smaller bottles of water, that would be equal to 1 liter. Okay, but a large bottle of water is equal to 1 liter. Here's another thing that we want to imagine, okay? So putting our imagination caps on. 1,000, you guys, milliliters is equal to 1 liter. Okay, so 1,000 drops of water is equal. If we were to put all of these drops of water and we were to put it in this large bottle, it would equal 1 liter. Okay, that's a lot of drops of water. And that's why we measure liters, right? With large amounts of water with liters, right? Because that's for large amounts of volume. Here's some different, in the last slide I'm going to go through here is these are some different tools that we use to measure liters and milliliters. And if we were in the classroom, we would be able to explore these tools with measurement. But because we're not, we're going to have to just use our imaginations and look at the pictures and try to understand what kind of measurement tools we would use to measure these two things. So we have a beaker here. This is a beaker here. I want to make it green so you guys can really see where I'm pointing. And that measures liters. It does measure milliliters if it's a small beaker, but if it's a large beaker, the measurements will be in liters. Okay, so that is for if we're trying to measure big amounts of water. And then a cylinder here. This helps us measure milliliters. But it can also measure 1 liter. So if I was to fill this with water and it went to the top, it would go to 1 liter. Okay? But all these little lines right here, this is measuring milliliters. Okay, now we are going to do a little game here. We're going to sort these pictures and figure out what would we measure? Would we measure these objects in liters? Or would we want to measure the volume of these objects in milliliters? So if they are in milliliters, I'm going to circle it green. If they are in liters, I'm going to circle it red. Okay, so let's look at the baby bottle. Would I want to measure the volume of the liquid inside a baby bottle with liters or milliliters? Well, probably not liters, because liters is measuring large amounts of liquid, right? And a baby bottle's not that big that I know of, right? So I'm going to say I would measure it in milliliters. You guys agree? Okay, let's go to the next. Soda can. Well, a soda can isn't very big either. So I probably would not want to measure it in liters. So I'm going to say milliliters. Hopefully you guys agree with that one. Now let's look at the bleach. Well, the container of a bleach is really big. I have one at home. You guys probably might have one at home too, or something similar to that size container. That holds a lot of liquid. So if I was to measure the volume of bleach in that container, I think I would have to pick liters for that one. Let's look at this water bottle. Well, this water bottle could be big or it could be small. I'm going to say in this situation, this water bottle is a large bottle of water. So if it's a large bottle of water, that means it holds a lot of liquid. And in that case, I'm going to circle it red, because I would want to measure it in liters. Now, if the image looks small, and then I would probably pick milliliters. Or if I had two water bottles next to each other, and then I would actually pick liters. And the bathtub, what do you guys think? Liters or milliliters? You're probably right. It's liters, because a bathtub holds a lot of liquid, right? So if we're going to measure the volume of that liquid inside, we would want to measure it in liters. All right, you guys made it to the final page, and the secret password today is love. The secret password today is love. Now you guys are going to do your seesaw slides, and it's very similar to what we did right here. So you guys are going to be doing some sorting. You're going to define milliliters and liters, and then you'll have a few little word problems where you have to pick if that measurement is in milliliters or in liters. So if you need help with your math today, make sure you go to your math help group. Good luck, everybody.